just on a general level, an absolute thriller to kick off week 1 in the afternoon window with everybody paying attention.
I didn't have either of these teams in my top 10 when it was all said and done. But did say positive things about both, but that was more of an injury, overarching, overhanging injury concerns that I think that hang over both of these teams and both of these offenses. So we'll talk about in 10 weeks. But holy crap, Mike McDaniel is good. He is so good. And what first off, one stat is that they had 16 explosive plays today. And I looked it up. That's the second most a team has had in the game since 2014. There's only one game that was better, which was a Rams loss in 2020, but we don't have to talk about that. It was a weird game that showed up in. But just we've talked about before, the use of speed and the use of motion that Mike McDaniel has done, and really these Shanahan offenses have done. He's kind of added another layer to it. And it was a motion he kept using. I just wanted to show just one motion, talk about it, just to explain everything that he was doing today. Was this, we talk about jet motions all the time, across the formation. He was doing out motions and he's hiding alignment every which way, or every way now. So what they're doing is just think of a helicopter that can go in any direction. Now that motion can go in any direction, and now you're making the defenses communicate over and over and over. And they're doing it with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and they're doing it with backup receivers. Like the Dolphins do a weird thing where they kind of hockey shift their receivers. And so they're like, okay, our starters are out. Okay, backups in. And so they're still doing with River Craycraft. What? Really?
Listen, it's not up to me.
It's a Twilight novel. But they'll get stacked. They're hiding these alignments. And I'm not trying to get too scheme heavy with this stuff, but just how he weaponizes this speed is just, he's creative. It's like a postmodern offense. You know what I mean? Like he uses like tropes and just knows, okay, we're doing all this jet motion behind the quarterback. Now we're just going to go the other way. And it's going to make you guys communicate in a way that you weren't expecting over and over and over. It's amazing. It's such cool stuff. There's other stuff he did, but that was just the thing that just stood out to me. It was just using just something that seems so simple, but no one leans into it as much as Mike McDaniel does, and weaponizing the assets that he has.
Last year, it was all a lot of jet motion, where you'd have a player come across the entire formation and change the picture that way. Now it's a player starting on one side of the formation, but just changing where he's aligned right before the snap. And the one that really jumped out to me is there was a chunk play early in the second quarter where Tyreek Hill was kind of as an H-back, lined up almost like a tight end. And he just goes in a quick little speed motion. And then because of the way that the receiver number count changes and the leverage is changed right before the snap, there's just so little you can do as a defense when all that speed is coming at you and the picture is changing that quickly. There's really no time for them to communicate. And JC Jackson had absolutely no shot on that play because, again, it just all changes so fast. And they were using that little tiny quick motion all throughout the game. And I'm sure it happened. It's nothing in football is new, right? No, we've seen all this stuff before, but seeing a team use it 10 times today, a dozen times today, the way that they did, I've never seen a team do that before. And it's just one more little bit of wrinkle in the evolution. And why it's important is teams did such a good job late in the season of getting physical with those guys at the line of scrimmage. And this is just one more way that you're creating free releases and changing the picture right before the snap. So the next kind of fold, the next step in this Miami Dolphins innovation and evolution, we saw it today, and it was like a fireworks show. It was like that Millhouse meme, just the TV coming at you that I tweeted this morning. It was insane.
With playing a video game. It's, oh my God, it's the use of leverage. It's almost wing T stuff like or flex bone, like kind of stuff like that, as far as like the out motion and everything. It's not orbit or anything like that, but just as far as using the motion to go out as they're starting in the wing position, it's just so cool. Like it really is. I just can't get over it. Like I've seen teams do that, but it's a one-off play. They ran the play that you talked about to Hill, the one I talked about with the backup receivers. They used it on quick game. They used a bootleg out of it. So they're running everything out of it. And they're just, again, using a guy that runs a 4.240 that the one you're talking about, the fact that they can attack 16 yards down the field after the guy is already going a motion outwards. That's how fast Tyreek Hill is. But let's use it. Let's break the rules because we have a guy that can break the rules. And then also on top of that, going back to the basics, they're also just doing like under center stuff. And they did that stuff that we talked about. They did in the second half of the Chargers game last year. Under center, they set play action out of it. They did under center run game. Yeah, really just well done. The explosive plays and everything just kind of like matches how this team looked today. They just look fantastic. And that's with making some mistakes.
The Chargers had no answer in the secondary. JC
Yeah.
Jackson was just running around, spinning. His head was spinning the entire game. He had the pick, obviously, but they were picking on him consistently throughout the entire game.